October 29, 2022. This wasn't just the date Henry Cavill announced his departure from The Witcher. It was the exact moment a potential billion-dollar franchise committed public suicide. For 3 years, Netflix believed they possessed the successor to Game of Thrones. They had the massive budget, the rich source material, and the perfect leading man. But behind the scenes, a silent war was raging. It was a battle between a writer's room allegedly obsessed with fixing the story, and a lead actor who realized he was the only person on set who actually respected it.
So,
how did a studio manage to alienate their star, mock their own fan base, and incinerate their reputation in record time? The answer isn't just bad writing, it's betrayal. To understand the sheer magnitude of this failure, you have to rewind to May 2019. The Game of Thrones finale had just aired, and it left a massive billion-dollar hole in the cultural zeitgeist. Every streamer in Hollywood was desperate to find the heir to the throne. They weren't just looking for a show, they were hunting for a religion, and Netflix believed they had the winning ticket. They had The Witcher, and at first, it worked. When the show dropped, toss a coin to your Witcher wasn't just a meme, it was a viral plague. It proved that the audience was there, hungry for fantasy content that wasn't sanitized by Disney. But looking back with 2020 vision, the cracks were already there. The timelines were a mess, the costumes looked cheap, and the writing often felt like a CW teen drama with a higher budget. So why didn't we revolt then? One reason: Henry Cavill. He wasn't just a Hollywood A-lister cashing a paycheck. He was a legitimate nerd. He had read the books. He had played the games on the hardest difficulty. His passion acted as a bulletproof shield for the entire production. Fans, myself included, looked at Henry and thought, if Superman loves this script, it must be in good hands. We were dead wrong. For a while, the showrunner Lauren Hissrich said all the right things. She promised a faithful adaptation. She swore she respected the source material. Then season 2 dropped, and the mask didn't just slip, it fell off completely. If you've read the books, you know that Yennefer of Vengerberg is essentially a mother to Ciri. She would burn the world down to protect that girl. But the Netflix writers, they decided it would be better if Yennefer lost her powers, and tried to sacrifice Ciri to a demon to get them back. That isn't a creative liberty. That is character assassination. Then there was Eskel, a beloved, complex brother-in-arms to Geralt. The show turned him into a rude, infected tree monster, and killed him off in a single episode to, quote, raise the stakes. It felt like the writers were actively hostile to the lore, and turns out, they were. Former writer Beau DeMayo eventually blew the whistle. He revealed that some of the writers didn't just ignore the books, they actively mocked them. They treated Andrzej Sapkowski's work not as a Bible to be followed, but as a rough draft they needed to fix. And in that room, sitting there watching his favorite stories get butchered, was Henry Cavill. Suddenly his exit doesn't look like a career move, it looks like an escape. If you still think Henry Cavill was the problem, look at The Witcher: Blood Origin. This was Netflix's chance to prove they didn't need Geralt to sustain the universe. They had Michelle Yeoh, they had a massive budget, and they had total creative freedom. And the result? It wasn't just bad. It was offensive. With an audience score that dropped as low as 13%, it became one of the worst-rated shows in Netflix history. It exposed the terrifying reality of the franchise. Without Cavill's star power, and without the book's actual plot, The Witcher is just generic fantasy content wearing a famous skin suit. This brings us to the billion-dollar question. Why do studios keep doing this? Why hire writers who despise the source material to adapt? The source material, it's the modern audience trap. Executives have convinced themselves that the core fan base is outdated. The people who bought the books, played the games, and built the hype. They want to broaden the appeal. They want to fix the problematic elements. But in their desperate attempt to appeal to everyone, they ended up appealing to no one. You cannot build a global franchise on a foundation of apathy. Netflix forgot the golden rule of business. It is statistically impossible to make money if you actively hate your own customers. So, Season 4 is finally here, and the result is uncomfortable. Watching Liam Hemsworth try to be Geralt doesn't feel like a new chapter. It feels like watching a stepfather trying to discipline someone else's kids. He isn't doing a bad job, he's doing an impossible job. But the reaction to the new season confirmed exactly what we feared. The anger from the Henry Cavill exit didn't translate into a hate watch campaign, it translated into silence. The viewership numbers have plummeted compared to Season 1. The buzz on social media is non-existent. Netflix bet everything on the idea that the brand was bigger than the actor. They thought we were addicted to the world of The Witcher. But Season 4 proved that we were invested in the soul of The Witcher, and that soul left the building 2 years ago. The show isn't officially canceled yet, but make no mistake, it's a zombie, it's walking, it's making noise. But There is no life behind the eyes. Cavill didn't kill the show by leaving, he just had the dignity to get off the Titanic before it hit the iceberg. But that's just my take. I want to know yours. Is Season 4 actually a disaster, or are we being too harsh on Liam just because he isn't Henry? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more deep dives into how Hollywood is destroying your favorite franchises, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.